During the month of March of this year, 100% of all the new generating capacity on the U.S. grid is renewable. In the What Could Go Wrong department, the ERCOT officials, that's the Electrical Reliability Council of Texas, have announced that the grid in Texas is more reliable than ever, and they see no cause for concern over the hot summer months. And a number of new manufacturing plants are opening across the United States. I'm Jay Warmke from Blue Rock Station, and this is the solar news for the week of May 30th. Now, for the first quarter of 2022, actually 97.4% of all the new generating capacity installed on the U.S. grid was wind and solar. Now, the remaining 2.6% or so is natural gas. Well, renewables now account for 26.4% of all of the generating capacity on the grid. This is well in excess of coal, which represents 18.2%, nuclear, which has about 8.2%. The leading supplier of electrical energy generating capacity is natural gas still, and that represents 43.9% of the capacity on the grid. Now, according to FERC, that's the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the high probability is that renewables will account for at least a third of all of the electrical generating capacity on the grid by 2025. ERCOT officials have announced that the grid in Texas is more reliable than it has ever been before. And what they're claiming is that they are well prepared for the hot summer months. Now, the energy system in Texas has suffered recently, well, over the past few decades, from problems with reliability. It is an isolated grid, which basically means that they cannot draw excess power from other parts of the country, which has led to problems during the winter when they had ice storms that shut down a great deal of their generating capacity. And of course, in summer months, when air conditioning demands cause the grid demand to spike, which then leads to power outages. They also suffered a great number of high energy prices because their pricing system is such that during these emergencies, they can institute emergency pricing, which is essentially, they had a cap of $9,000 per megawatt hour. To give you a perspective, that's about $9 a kilowatt hour. Now, most people use about 1,000 kilowatt hours a month. So if they were priced under that scenario, they might have electric bills of $9,000 a month. So don't worry about it, though. They've lowered the cap to $5,000 per megawatt hour. So your electric bill could only be about $5,000. No problem. And in fact, the officials said that they have no concerns at this time that there will be price manipulation. Now, immediately after they issued that they were well resilient for the summer, they had to issue warnings to consumers to reduce energy demands because temperatures soared and several of their generating plants crashed because of this. Corporate procurement is going at record rates. 2021 was a record year for corporate procurement, at which it increased over 2020 by a rate of 32% annually. Basically, this is where corporations say they would like to purchase their electricity from renewable sources. About half of all of the corporations in 2021 that went into this marketplace were first-time energy buyers, and 2022 is on track to break the records from 2021. Corporate procurement has accounted for about 37% of all of the new generating capacity put on the grid from renewables since 2014. And a number of manufacturing plants are opening across the United States. Qcells has announced that they're opening a module manufacturing facility in Dalton, Georgia. Will create about 420 new jobs. Qcells is the largest module supplier in the U.S., with a market share of about 24% for residential and about 21% of the market for commercial systems. REC Silicon has announced that they're going to be reopening their module plant in Moses Lake, Washington, after a large cash infusion from the Korean company Hanwha Solutions. That's a Korean petrochemical company that has invested $200 million in REC Silicon. And Iguana Energy has announced that they're going to be opening a battery manufacturing facility in San Jose, California. That's the news from Solar this week. We'll see you next week.